A darkened chamber, labored breathing. A scream, a cry, blazing light, then silence. It should have been a great day, an exalted day. A new child was to be welcomed into the family of the gods. The youngest of the deities, Izanagi and Izanami, were to have another child. But this child would be Kagu-Tsuchi, the incarnation of fire. And his birth burned his mother Izanami, and from that terrible fire, she died. Enraged, Izanagi drew his sword and sliced the child into 8 pieces. And the 8 pieces became the 8 great volcanoes of Japan. The blood that dripped from his sword became gods in their own right, and thus the god of the sea and the god of the rain came to be. Before this act, death was unknown to the world, and now it had become a reality. But Izanagi would not accept the death of his consort. He decided he would find her. So he descended into the realm of the dead. There, everything was shadows, dim-lit and insubstantial, a dark reflection of the world above. Stumbling about in the darkness, he searched and searched, until at last he found Izanami. But he couldn't make out her face because she was hidden in the shadows. Knowing it was her, though, he asked her to join him once again in the realm of the brightness and light. She refused, saying she could not, for she had already eaten food prepared on the hearth of the land of the dead. Izanagi was insistent, though. He would not return without her. Finally, she agreed, though she said she needed some time to rest. And there was one condition to her agreement. He could not look upon her while she slept. Izanagi accepted, and Izanami retired to her chamber to sleep. Time passed, and Izanagi began to worry. And at last, overwhelmed by curiosity and concern, he entered the room where Izanami slept. In the darkness, he was blind. So he took out the comb he wore in his hair and set it alight so that he might see. She was not her. She was meat, rotting, hanging off the bone. A pile of entrails and flesh, crawling with insects and worms. Her skull could be seen through her putrefying flesh. In horror, Izanagi ran out of the room, but the light and sound woke Izanami, and she started to wail and shriek. She let out a piercing cry and began to chase her faithless consort, who only loved her while she had the grace and beauty of the lighted world. She called on the Shikome, demon women of the Underworld, to seize Izanagi. Then, everybody decided it was slapstick time! The demon woman chases Izanagi, but Izanagi does what any right-minded person clearly in possession of his wits would do. He throws his headdress at her, which of course turned into grapes. So the demon woman gets beamed off the face with grapes, and being an insatiable demon of the underworld, stops to eat them. But, grapes done, the Benny Hill music starts up again, and the Shikome is hot on the heels of Izanagi. This time, he throws the teeth of his comb at her, because somehow he burnt his comb but I guess kept the teeth? Sure. These are bamboo shoots, and they stick into the Shikome, so of course she pulls them out and eats them. Next, master tactician Izanagi sees a tree and does the only reasonable thing. He pees a literal river on it. Yeah, this slows down the Shikome, but she's still closing in on him, so he whips out some peaches. Where did he get those? I don't understand what... He tosses the peaches her way, and that apparently does the trick? Am I hearing it? Okay, good peaches. At last, he reaches the entrance to the Underworld. He strains all of his godly might and rolls a giant boulder in front of the mouth of the land of the dead. But just as the boulder is sealing the dark lands for good, he hears the voice of Izanami shriek that because he deserted her, she will kill 1,000 people a day. Izanagi responds maturely, saying, "Oh yeah? Then I'll give life to 1,500! Mic drop, I guess? And thus, with that last bon mot, he goes off to purify himself. As the water pours down from his body, gods spring from the drops. With Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun, coming from the water streaming from his right eye, and Tsukeomi, god of the moon, coming from his left. Lastly, Susanoo, the god of the storms, comes from the water dripping off his nose. Izanagi then splits the living world between them, with Amaterasu ruling over the day, Tsukeomi ruling over the night, and Susanoo to possess the rolling seas. But their stories are for another time.
And speaking of stories for another time,
Whoa, where did you people come from?
talk about a dysfunctional relationship, right? If only Izanami had found a man who'd love her no matter what she looked like. Like that one Japanese myth where a woodcutter falls in love with a giant spider.
Relationship goals.
Wait a second. You guys seem familiar. Are you?
I'm Red.
And I'm Blue.
And if that story sounds interesting, maybe you should check out our video on it over at Overly Sarcastic Productions.
Huh, well, that does sound pretty sweet, but wait a minute. What did you do with Allie and James?
They're probably already watching the video.
Come on, we'll take you there.
Well, this wouldn't be the first time I've been lured into the woods by strangers with promises of sweet mythological content, so, sure.
This happens a lot around here?
Oh, way too much. Can I, bring my cat?